You're good. Get on the keyboard. The interesting part is that he's essentially calling his own voters stupid, and he's right. It wouldn't make any difference. That's pretty much the theme of the story, like every day. He consistently fucks over his own voters, and they're so stupid they don't even realize that they're getting fucked. Or they realize it and they're like so racist and like hate mongering that him talking shit to who they perceive as like enemies is good enough to where he can fuck them over and they don't even care. As long as he is like trying to attack the people that they hate, that's all they care about. It's probably a combination of both. Hello, Rash. It's also estimated that the Qatar jet is going to cost up to $1 billion to be retrofitted, and many are suggesting, aviation experts are suggesting that the cost, well, I just mentioned that, and that it could possibly extend beyond the end of the presidential term, in which case it's going to Trump's presidential library. It's not even for the president to remain for the president. Hello, Audie.
Hello. How you going?
How's it going?
Not bad, not bad.
Not bad myself. I'm a little tired.
Shit.
And I'm probably going to have to... What?
I had YouTube in the background. You were echoing. Sorry, just turn that off.
It happens. Probably going to have to close down a little early today. It's going to be like an hour instead of 2.
Ooh.
Got to meet someone from the family, unfortunately. But it happens. At least I don't have to completely call it off for another week.
You're good. I got nothing to whinge about, especially when there's no rednecks up. So,
There's no what?
Rednecks up.
Except for me.
Yeah, but
I'm redneck in accent only. I like absolutely abhor the culture and everything about it.
Well, yeah, you're dead right. That went right over my head. I didn't consider you a redneck at all.
Well, it depends on how you define it. If you define it by being like pro what typical rednecks are associated with, I'm not. If you define it by the accent, then I definitely am. I can't do anything about it.
Can't escape.
Yeah, well, I could if I really put a lot of effort into it, but it's not worth it to me. I'm not going to spend like insane amounts of time training myself to get rid of it.
I did hear Tex earlier this week. Tex Max backtracking on a lot of MAGA stuff. It might have been a clone though or something, but he was giving Trump heaps of shit, and it was like, fuck, that's full reversal of you, brother. So,
I don't see how could he support him in the first place. He wants to get rid of his people. Like, what the
well,
fuck?
that's you and I know that, but fuck, even through all of that, him and Andy and all of that are still supporting Trump. So I don't get this cognitive dissonance.
That's the thing. It's an estimated, I would estimate it at like 30 to 33% of all Trump voters are diehard. It doesn't matter. And that's like this quote here. It does not matter what he does. It doesn't matter if they fuck them over personally. It doesn't matter what happens. They're in a cult. They will be pro-Trump no matter what.
Yep.
And so that like 30% or so, well, some people disagree on it. It's like from 25 to like 35% or so. But it's insane that number of people just don't care. And I think a lot of it is because there's a huge, massive part of the population that just don't care about politics and has never cared about politics in the past. And a lot of those people only started enjoying politics because of Donald Trump. I think a lot of it is because his lack of vocabulary. He speaks at a third grade level, and they can kind of resonate with that. And they feel like, hey, this is the every guy. This isn't someone who talks down to you. I think that's what they see anyway. I don't see that, but like, it's sad that being stupid is considered a positive to people.
Selling docilism.
Kind of. Well, he's sort of he's an idiot, but he's like the perfect figure for fascism, because fascism is all about creating complacency and creating this control mechanism of obey and like following the hierarchy and you do as I say type deal. And like people love how he is, at least the fascist type people, and everyone else, of course, that actually cares about freedom absolutely abhors him.
I wonder if he actually could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody. Oh, well, he probably wouldn't lose voters, but surely
he would lose
send
voters
him to jail.
I don't know, dude. He's gotten away with so much shit. Like, I'm at a point where I don't know what he could do to get in trouble. The Supreme Court ruled that if he is even able to make like a half-ass like case that it's acting as president for the American people, and he could say that about anything. He can do anything he wants, and he can't be held accountable for it. And that's one really stupid fucking court ruling.
Yeah.
You could apply it to, you could use that exact same methodology and apply it to Biden. Do you think they would agree with it then?
Of course not.
Exactly. It's like, it's stupid. I don't understand it. What I think needs to happen is, well, for one, Democrats are fucked, and I don't see it changing. They're basically like fucking MAGA light. We don't have a left here, which is a big part of the problem. Recently, AOC even went down. She's getting grilled all the fuck. She may have just ruined her entire career. She's lost almost all support. Well,
what did she do?
Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, do you know who that is?
Yeah, she's a bitch.
Yeah,
but she's turned on Trump a bit.
Yes, but she, regardless of what she stands on other things, and yes, I hate her, but she pulled an amendment saying that we need to strip millions, or it might have been billions of dollars going to Israel because we are in so much debt and they are not. They are wealthy on their own. They can defend themselves. They can carry out their own wars and shit. And AOC went against it. She actually said, no, we're going to keep giving Israel money. And that goes against everything AOC has ever said, even claiming that like Israel's committing a genocide, all that.
Yeah, wow.
no one understands it. And then she, instead of saying she's sorry, she made a mistake, she doubled down on it and went all like narcissistic and started screaming at her own former supporters and saying, I'm not going to take away defensive money, because the way she's wording it, this is money that's allocated toward Iron Dome. What she doesn't understand is, well, I don't know if she understands it or not. It's hard to say whether she's corrupt or not, but the point is, funding Iron Dome is basically the same thing as giving a green light to Israel to continue their genocide. Because without Iron Dome, like Iron Dome allows them to divert all the effort and funding toward committing these atrocities. If they lost funding for any of this, then they wouldn't be able to do it. So, and also you can make an argument that there's no such thing as defensive weaponry. Like it's sort of weird. I don't understand her logic, or even if she has any. It's possible that she's been bought off by AIPAC. I don't know. But it's really sad because it was basically just her and Bernie were the only people that we could really rely on. And it looks like AOC is gone now.
Do I need to jump back on your Discord channel and start watching Rash's informative news videos again and get myself up to scratch?
You could if you wanted. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of time. I don't really even follow that much. I usually check in once every few days, and even then, if it's not something I'm like extremely interested in, I don't. I tend to just follow my own shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, we all have different interests, so like what other people are posting isn't necessarily what you want to invest time in.
Hang on, Mama Dingo. My milk's moldy. I went to make a coffee and my milk's moldy. So I sent her a text. Got milk.
Moldy milk, gross.
Yeah.
It happens. I don't keep track of shit, so I'm always like, I sniff test everything, because I don't fucking, like, some people keep track of all their shit and like, oh, that goes out in 4 days. I don't do that. So half the time I'll go in there.
To my mouth.
That's
it got
good.
To my nose only. Yeah, man. And the lumps going down the drain signified it was definitely off.
That's how it usually works for me. I open it, get ready to use it. Well, back when I used milk, and then I like, oh, what the fuck? And sometimes it'll be like several months past, and then like you pour it out, and it's like big solid chunks coming out.
Yeah, no, that stays in the bottle. That level, man.
Yeah. Well, I've learned to just try to let the chunks, like, to barely tip it and just get most of the liquid out. Because the chunks are fucking nasty and they make your whole damn kitchen stink after that.
Oh,
yeah. So what does Mama Dingo have to say about my response? I don't know if she realized it or not. She posted a video that countered her claim as if it bolstered her claim. What I mean by that, I don't know if you saw it or not. She posted a video and said something like it takes all types or whatever, and as if like the video showed that religion had an important purpose. But the entire point of Bertrand Russell's analogy of the teapot is to show that atheists don't have any sort of onus to explain anything. That it's not equal. Like, if I claim that I'm an atheist, I do not have to defend it at all. In the same way,
so glad you noticed that as well, dude. I was so glad, man.
I'm not being an asshole, but it made no sense. It made no sense. So I'm like,
a comment.
I didn't see the comment.
No, I left a comment for Mama Dingo. I didn't know that you'd been there.
Yeah. Well, that might have been what she responded to because she said something like a private message and you couldn't say it in public. How odd or something. I think that was a hint. But yeah, I didn't dig into any of that. I'm not trying to cause drama or anything, but it didn't.
No,
like,
I know that.
It didn't make
It just
sense
wasn't
to
the
me.
correct response for the video.
yeah. It's like it would be fine if you wanted to show that there's purpose to religiosity, and you could make claims. You could say that, hey, religion gives people purpose. That's valid, and all this stuff, whether it's true or not, that's a whole different argument. But like that your entire defense is using an analogy that Bertrand Russell used to show that Christians have no real leg to stand on logically, because they basically, like, the onus is on them to show evidence for the positive claim that they make. Atheists don't have to do anything, and that's not special for atheists. That's how science works, period. Like if and
Hey,
the
Rash,
reason
it's
why
funny,
he
the words need words. The only thing special about us is that we understand them.
so this is the thing. Like, this is why he uses the teapot to show you that it's not any special like rules for atheists. He's using the teapot to show, in just the same way, if there was a teapot that was like circling the sun and we couldn't detect it, there's no evidence to support that claim, yet you can't prove that it doesn't exist, but you don't have to, because it's up in science, it's up to the person making a positive claim to have the burden of proof, to provide
There's
evidence.
no reason for the claim to have been made.
Yes. So it's like, I just don't understand, like, how could you see that as a victory? I don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the very end of the video, it was followed by a special plead off memory. I can't remember the end.
I don't know if I saw that. Adding Resh to the stage. Hello, Resh.
Oh, good eye. Hopefully with good internet connection, because it is funner.
I don't hear anything yet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, Rash.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying that's how science works?
Yes, sir.
That's interesting. How many scientists have been religious? So that's how that works. How could they be religious and scientific?
No. You're making a fallacious remark. You're claiming...
No, dude, do not talk to me like that. I'm asking you a question.
Hold on.
Insinuates that I'm a liar, which is a common thing that people always try and say.
No.
Relax. Okay, go.
Rash, you're getting emotional, and I'm trying to... Look, I'm not attacking you by saying something's fallacious.
I'm not a robot.
Hold on. That's not calling you a liar either. It is factually fallacious, and I'm about to explain why. It's fallacious because you're making the claim that because a scientist can be religious, that means science is somehow, like, what, obligated to, like, you're acting like there's a contradiction here. There's no contradiction. Like, I don't understand what...
How can there not be a contradiction?
There's not a contradiction because...
I mean, what
Go ahead.
I'm asking, what on earth are you talking about?
Okay. Because a scientist can be religious, you realize that a scientist does not represent science, right? Like a single scientist. Go ahead. Sorry.
What has science got to do with religion? Why do you always go, oh, it's science? Every time religion comes up, let's talk about science.
Okay.
You brought up science.
I'll explain this for you. So if you're making a positive claim about reality, science is involved, whether you like it or not. If you make a claim that something exists, that is science, whether you like it or not. That's how it works. Like, you can say that you believe something is true and science may not get involved. That's fine. But if you make a claim that something is true, not a belief, but is true, That is science. Like you've opened the door, right?
Everybody in
backed up
religion,
by
everybody
science.
in religion understands that it's a belief. It's like
No.
non-religious people.
I don't have
You
a
know, you
belief.
go, hey, dude, what do you believe?
I
What do
believe
you
in
believe?
lots of things, but not to do with anything religious.
A Muslim
So
meets a Christian. Hey, dude,
so-
what do you?
So it
Dude,
depends.
relax,
It
Rash.
depends.
We're not even fucking heightened, dude.
For one,
Relax,
it depends
brother.
on the individual in question. So there are, if we look at things from a big picture perspective, a vast majority of, some people will call them agnostics. I call them almost all atheists because I think that's what they are. I think we agree on that. But anyway, so a vast majority will basically go, I don't know, but this is what I believe. Very rarely does that happen for theists. They claim knowledge. That is science. So you're saying that it's obvious that it's a belief. It's not obvious when the vast majority claim that it's a fact, that it's true, absolutely true, right?
Rash, we want to hear you, brother. We'll pause and we will let you talk, man. You do not have to talk over the top of anyone.
I don't think Rash is doing that on purpose. It's because of the connection. There's always like a couple of second gap between us. So I think he hears a pause and like he starts and then it kind of cuts me off because we have like a buffer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know if that's true, but I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, there is a lag.
Yeah.
We want to hear what you got to say, Rash. Okay? We have no problem.
That from somebody who is getting so angry at me over the prophecy thing.
Mate, you weren't listening. You
That's
weren't
not-
listening at all. I had to make a
that's
fucking
not
AI-generated video to explain it to you, and I don't think you've even watched it. There's like 5 views or so. So
Yeah, I watched 2
what's
of
the
your AI
fucking
generated videos before I realized that every single one of them just parrots everything that you can find on any other AI generated video about atheism. You just parroted everything I already heard before.
Rash, you're talking to me heightened up again. Dude, atheism isn't a belief system or a worldview. When you understand that, you'll understand the big flaw that you have with your whole conversations with me.
So atheism is a knowledge of something?
No.
Atheism
It's a
is a
belief system,
rejection
isn't it?
of your claim that a God
It's
exists.
a belief.
Period.
It's a belief.
So hold on. Atheism is a lack of belief. A lack of belief cannot be a belief by definition.
Oh, that's silly, isn't
Thank
it?
you.
I
No,
don't
it's not
believe
silly.
in unicorns. I don't
What
believe in
is-
unicorns. It's not a belief.
No, it's a lack of belief. Like I don't understand why that's challenging or like is it crazy or something? It's like like that's how it works for any lack of belief.
That's
He
like,
is
okay,
not
fine.
innocent is not the same as he is guilty.
So I can't say
That's
for
actually-
you. I can't say for you, Rash, but a lot of the time I think the big issue is, and I don't know if this is the problem here or not, is a lot of people have a misunderstanding between the word knowledge and belief. They're two very different things. It's why that's why I like to use the term agnostic atheist to define myself, not agnostic, because it don't tell you anything. One is a position of knowledge, which is agnostic or gnostic. The other is a position of belief, which is atheist or theist.
Oh, atheist is a belief. Yeah, okay, go on.
It's not a belief. It's the position
It's on
is
that line of
predicated.
what belief is. If there's a line of not knowing right in the middle, or not believing would be on one side, and then you've got the belief on the other side of this line.
Yes.
Like 100%, 0%. It's on that line. That's why it's a belief too. Because you can't prove there is no God.
Okay.
I can.
Well, no. I
can't
can't
believe that there's no God with characteristics.
So, okay, there's a lot of things to address here. So the first thing I want to address is the belief that So hold on, my brain's all fucked. What did you just say? Like just now, what was the last thing that you said, Rash? Something
about
about
belief being a lie.
not that.
Sorry, go on.
Something about God exists. I don't. You said something that I
You
wanted.
You can't
He
prove
said we can't
that
prove that gods don't exist.
Oh yes, that's true, and that's.
And I said that I can.
Okay,
But
so
it has to be gods with characteristics.
Yes. Okay. So I've said this before, and I'm probably going to agree with Odd on this. So it depends. Theism in general, like theism, the blanket philosophical term, and like that there is a deity or a creator deity or whatever, you cannot disprove because there's no evidence to disprove, right? But you can factually disprove specific organized religions, gods. Like you can show that the Christian God cannot be true by using the Bible. And you can do that for any organized religion.
The Christian one. Give us an example of the Christian one.
Well, there's tons of like.
I know. I just like to see what you consider an example.
Well, I don't know if I can think of something off the top of my head, but all I can say is if there is one contradiction in a book that is supposed to be the word of God, that's enough to logically conclude that it's BS.
So I can give you an example.
He gets David's sons to rape his wives in public on top of the temple. Fucking, he gets the sons to commit the rape of the wives. That is not justice because the crime was done by David and done against the wives. Therefore, God is unjust. Therefore,
I agree.
It is not a Christian God.
So hold on. I agree with you, but we're getting into a different topic. That's not whether or not it's real. That is whether or not the God. That's whether or not the God is moral or good. Like that's a different.
Characteristic.
But if it's against the Bible, then it's against God, and their God isn't real.
That's true.
It's another part of their Bible.
Considering
that, Rash, I'm not talking over you.
Go ahead, Rash.
Sorry, the thing about the characteristics of, say, the God in the Bible, where he does seemingly immoral things, and then Christians say that he's a good God, he's a loving God, that kind of stuff, right? That's what I think Odd is talking about when he talks about the characteristics. That inherently does not disprove. It does not disprove the existence of a God. It just proves that people are saying things about God that can't be true if the Bible is absolutely correct.
Yes,
because
we said that though, Rash, too.
I agree.
We get rid of the Christian God.
So
you just agreed with us, Rash. You just left behind only a remaining God of whatever.
I'm not like it. Atheism's the one way and all that. I'm not like you. I'm not a fanatic.
Rash, you just agreed with me, is what I'm saying.
Exactly, because I'm not a fanatic.
Well, neither am I. So
I'm going to have to agree with Rash on what he said, that it does not disprove the God, but what it does do, and this is the case that I made earlier, that alone doesn't disprove the God, but it does show a contradiction in beliefs in the same book. And to me, if there is any contradiction, then it's logical to conclude that this cannot be the word of God, or some of the so-called prophets that wrote the Bible were bullshit. Which means, why, if there's any bullshit in it, why would you consider any of it legitimate? That's my question.
No prophets wrote the Bible. Not a single prophet wrote the Bible. It was written by people after. Okay.
Right. But I agree.
The thing is, so you've got God telling, God damn it, what was his name? I think Abraham to sacrifice to prove how loyal he is.
Right.
Right. And straight away you can make a case. Oh, that's just mean. That's nasty. That's immoral.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
But if you're talking about an all-powerful being, that all-powerful being can do whatever the hell he likes.
True, but we're talking about two different things.
You don't understand why.
So I would not make the claim that God cannot do that. That's not what I'm claiming. I'm claiming that it is immoral and therefore he cannot be a all good, all just God. That's a different claim.
You don't know that it's moral, though.
What?
you don't know that that's immoral.
So this is the problem. If you define morality by whatever God says, morality ceases to have any meaning. It literally is defined by whatever God says, which means morality doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't actually have any definition.
Okay, how do you get your morality?
Well, we all get morality just by, there's a lot of different things, but the harm principle, for one, is it's something that's just innate in anyone that has empathy, really.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Do you
Yes.
believe that they are objective rash? They're objective
Like-
rash. Fucking
Objective what? Do I
rationality
believe what?
is objective. Irrational is objective or subjective? Do they
Rationality.
come from the mind, or do they inevitably exist in the universe without a mind?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question. Do I believe rationality is objective?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes, that is the question.
Rationality is objective.
Or morals. Sorry, fucking same fucking thing.
Morality, yeah.
Yeah, morality.
Well, again, you're
Brain
probably going to
fart.
you're going to try and get me on this.
I'm
but
not going to try to nothing,
believe-
man. I just want to know if it's objective or subjective. Morals.
I think
Are they
I think it's
objective or subjective?
I believe it comes from God, so it's
Yeah,
objective.
so
yes.
you believe it's objective, right?
So,
Okay, yeah.
so my question would be,
Thank you.
if there's an objective morality that comes from God, there's a couple of questions. One, how do you explain morality from atheists? And there obviously is morality in atheists, even if you don't like them. So one, how do you explain that? Are they just confused and they get it from God, but they don't believe in him? Or like, how does that work?
Well, they're made by God, so it's in them from God.
Okay.
If,
So
if it's like you say that we feel it innately, then for me, the argument is it came from God. But the thing is, my
okay.
problem, there's a problem with it.
Mhm.
I think if a child is raised to be what we call immoral, right? Murder's okay, eating your sister's fine, all that kind of stuff. Then what does that mean in case of the morality coming from God? Oh wait, how did he lose it? He had to be trained, or did he was it not there in the first place? That's my problem with it.
God condones cannibalism and eating your children and stuff in the Bible. I've got that on a list of things about the Bible.
So, but that's the thing. If you define morality by whatever God says, again, in my opinion, that means morality has no meaning. That means like everyone on the planet, or virtually everyone on the planet, can agree that murdering people's evil. But if God says it's okay in a specific situation, you can't argue against it because God, like, to me, that's like
You've made this argument yourself, though. Sorry, Trobs, you made the argument yourself.
Explain.
When it came to the vegan thing, right? It's okay for a lion to eat a gazelle because it's normal for them. It's moral for them. But
So
it's not moral.
hold on. For one, I didn't say it was moral for them. I said that they have to do it to survive, which means you're not comparing. What?
Would you argue it's immoral for them?
No, I don't think that it's really a matter of morality, but you could make the case that at the very least, it's less immoral because they literally die without it. My point when I said that was that you can't use carnivores as an analogy to human beings because we don't require meat to survive.
Right, okay. But there's different rules for the lion and different rules for us.
Yes, but it's logical. I don't point to like a magical creator.
The thing is, when we're talking about the creator, he is not us. We can imagine him to be the human and us to be the lion. There's different rules for us. That's why I can argue that God does not have to follow the rules that he sends to us.
Right. I understand your point of view. My issue with it is it's all, in the end, it's all arbitrary. And I don't know if I could use the word prove, but I can definitely provide evidence for it. So in the end, everyone is choosing their own morals anyway. How do I say that? Because in the end, everyone makes the choice of what religion they want to choose. They choose that religion based on the religion adhering to their moral code. So they don't get their morals from religion. They have their morals and they choose their religion based on that. Like, how can it be any other way?
Yeah, actually, that makes sense. That does make a lot of sense. I can agree with that.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then by definition, morality is subjective because it depends on each individual's definition of morality for themselves. So what am I putting up here?
You'll like this. This is, all right, on the left is the issues in the Bible, and in the middle are the passages of the Bible explaining it.
I wish I could make it larger.
Yeah, so do I. I was trying. It's about the best I could get to get it over to you. It wouldn't send in the original format.
Hmm.
But it's all down to God causing cannibalism, God causing rape, women being less than men, divorce for men only, the adultery tests for women only. It's like the blood one.
What's the example of cannibalism? I've never heard that one.
Of which one?
Cannibalism. I've never heard of cannibalism in the Bible.
I haven't either.
I've read until recently, but it's in Leviticus 26:29, Deuteronomy 28:53, Isaiah 9:20, Jeremiah 19:9. I don't know what lamb is.
I'll look up later.
Wow. Yeah, it's a cheat sheet I got from Deconstruction Zone. But it goes through a lot of the evil in the Bible. But it's definitely there, man. And yeah, man, the Bible is not a good thing. And the Christian God is not real. And Jesus was a liar and a fucking fraud. And it's fucking blatantly obvious.
So you know he's real.
So
I know because of the characteristics.
So on most of that, just to throw in my opinion here, on most of that I agree. I disagree that Jesus was a liar. One, I believe Jesus existed. Most historians believe that as well. I do not think he was the Son of God. He was just a human being. And one, he never claimed to be the Son of God. That was added after the fact by people. I think he was
claimed to be a king of Israel, though.
Is that true? I don't know.
That was added on later.
So I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Okay, well, the Christians call him king. They call him king, right? But it was a crown of thorns. That's the only crown he ever wore, and that was given to him by the Romans or the Jews or whatever when they were mocking him for being a king. And that is the only time that he's ever actually called a king. And to be a king, the prophecy was that he's to be a king over the land of Israel. And there was another king at the time. I think it was King David. Might have been the one before. I forget. But there was a king at the time already on the throne. And Jesus was never, ever a king over Israel. And to be a king, you have to be anointed to be a king. Right. That's what makes you king. So that means the oil dripping and shit.
There was no king.
So
Jesus was never king.
Right. We can agree with that. So what matters here is whether or not Jesus actually claimed to be king or if that was added later. And I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I think it was added.
I have a way to verify it to you.
But from what I do know, which isn't, I'm not like an expert by any stretch, but what I do know, I personally think if the information is correct regarding him, he was a good dude. And I use him personally, especially to try to reach right-wing religious people, because it makes no fucking sense that most religious people in the United States are right-wingers when that goes against everything that Jesus Christ stood for. It makes no sense to me. Like, how can you square that? How can you believe that? It don't make sense to me.
Your Christian conservative right wingers just helped Israel blow up the enemies.
Yeah.
Israel killed their fucking Messiah, Jesus.
And the funny thing is, Israel recently killed an entire fucking town, or almost attacked a town of strictly Christians. And I don't hear any Christians talking shit about it. Like, it's like they're immune to logic when on this topic. I don't understand it. It's so weird. It's like they don't actually care that I think that they use the religious thing as like a tribal thing. Like, hey, I'm part of the in group. And it's only like a way to like fascism or like, you know what I mean? Like all that matters is I'm part of the tribe, but they don't actually follow the beliefs or anything. At least that seems to be.
Well, there is an argument to be made that the Zionism movement actually hijacked American Christianity. And of course, they've done a really good job of it in Europe as well.
I don't know a lot about it. Like, if there's an argument to be made for that, present it for me. Like, how did they do that?
Try and do some research on how Bible interpretations were changed in America.
Okay.
I've read some stuff about it. I've seen a couple of videos. That kind of. You'd be better at figuring out, is this a conspiracy theory? Because I mean, every time somebody says something like Jews own Hollywood or whatever that is, and all that kind of a conspiracy theory.
To be fair, it's really difficult because I use conspiracy theory all the time to talk shit about right wingers, but we have to be honest.
Some are true.
The word conspiracy theory was originally made to throw doubt on propaganda. So yes, there is real conspiracies like MK Ultra. It sounds crazy, but it actually happened. And so it becomes difficult to talk about anything that gets branded, even in passing, as a conspiracy theory. But you have to be open to certain things if there's some form of evidence to back it. And there is some evidence to suggest, maybe not that there's a conspiracy for the Jews to take over or whatever, but there is definitely far more percentage of Jews in high-ranking positions in the United States and worldwide in a lot of places than you would think is just natural, right?
A lot of influence happening, yes.
Yes, so we know that for a fact. We don't know why, and it's so hard.
Why is easy? I mean, power. They get a lot of power by being able to control. Look, look how much money the US gives them. I mean, wouldn't you want to win that kind of stuff? Oh, it's
that's
free
true.
Money.
That's true. Now, I agree with you. What I mean is that's like a generalized answer. Power. That's a generalized. I mean specifics. Like, what exactly is going on? Like, is Israel funding to like create the power and like using subterfuge and fucking paying people off? Like, we don't know. To what extent?
APAC.
Oh, I know. APAC's for sure, and that I agree with. But
how many shores do you need?
Well, APAC alone is not enough to explain the extreme like influence of like bankers in the United States. Like alone, it's not. They're powerful, but they're not that powerful. There's something else going on. I just don't know what it is.
Well, what makes a person powerful in this day and age? It is money. So bankers are in the greatest place to actually do that kind of thing. So I mean, that's true. I don't disagree with that at all. So that explains that you have money, you have power. There's no problem there. It does not explain how the percentage of Jewish people became bankers in the first place. That's what I don't know. Oh, that's the same as the scientific thing where you get scientists who say atheists getting into the head position at a university, and then only want to hire other atheists.
Kill the atheists! Kill them all!
That's just normal.
Crucify the atheists!
That's tribalism.
So what I think gets used, if I were to like steelman their position, they say it primarily happens as a result that especially Ashkenazi Jews have the highest IQ of any group of people there is. And to them, that explains it alone. Like, Of course, if they're more intelligent, then they're going to get higher positions. To me, that's not a very good answer, but I can't prove it's wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be hard to prove it wrong when they're the ones saying it and they're in the institution saying it. It's
Well,
just like that paper that says, oh, atheists are 6% smarter than everybody else.
Yes. So I do believe, I think that actually Odd and I have a disagreement on this. I do believe that IQ tests are legitimate. However, I believe that IQ tests in the past were used for nefarious reasons. Like it's actually proven. Like IQ tests in the United States were purposefully designed for stupid trivia, not actually testing intelligence, but like, dumb cultural shit that you would only know if you're an American or a white person. Like that is not testing intelligence.
I just don't think intelligence has anything to do with whether you're religious or not because of indoctrination.
Right.
That's about it.
I think that both play a role. Sorry, Rash. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a good argument for that because a lot of highly intelligent people are still religious. And like you said, I mean, indoctrination. Yeah, sure.
So
I agree.
I don't deny that at all. So I have never claimed that there are no intelligent religious people, but you can't use that when we're talking about a top-down big picture claim, because even if there's a correlation with intelligence, as the research seems to suggest, and religiosity, there's still going to be outsiders. There's still going to be intelligent people. Like it's not claiming that all religious people are stupid. That would be a retarded claim, right?
Yeah.
So it's not simple. It's not like you can't go, hey, there's a smart religious person that proves it wrong. It doesn't work that way. Do you understand what I mean?
Well, look, my belief is that across the board, you've got stupid people, you've got dumb people, and what you believe hasn't got much to do with that.
Yes, but I believe it does, because your beliefs. So what you're saying without actually saying it, what you're saying without directly saying it is your beliefs has no direct link to your intelligence. Now, why would that be the case? Like, just for an example, and I'm not trying to attack or anything, but just as an example, I think we would both agree that if people, a large group of people believe something just absolutely crazy, I don't know, like fairies exist and that they've met them and all this, you could easily draw a link and say, hey, it is more likely, maybe not always, but it's more likely for people with lower IQ to believe that claim than people who aren't. And that applies to any belief. Like, how can you take intelligence out of the equation as if it's not a factor? I don't understand.
I think you can, because that kind of argument is the unicorn argument, where you say, oh yeah, we know unicorns don't exist, so if you believe in unicorns, you're a fucking idiot.
Well, no, I wouldn't say to defend myself here. I would not say unicorns do not exist. And I know that sounds crazy that I'm saying that, but it applies across the board. You can't disprove something that has no evidence to back it, period, which means I can never factually prove unicorns do not exist. What I can say is, due to the lack of evidence for unicorns, it is the logical position that unicorns, the belief, not the knowledge, but the belief that unicorns do not exist is the logical position, right? And that right there, you cannot separate intelligence from that. You can't. You cannot separate your ability. Like, if you were to just simply define intelligence, a lot of people think it's knowledge. It is not knowledge. Knowledge is not intelligence. Knowledge is just what you know. You can be a moron and know all sorts of shit, right? So intelligence is your. Go ahead.
I think you just contradicted yourself a bit, because you talk about knowing that there's no proof for unicorns. That's already knowledge that you're using. You're using knowledge right now to decide that unlikely that unicorns exist.
Yes, but that is not knowledge. That is logic. And this is, I think, it goes back to what it goes back to the question Odd asked you earlier. Well, his was slightly different, but I'll word it differently. Logic. Okay. Logic itself is not subjective. It is not dependent on subjective interpretation of your mind. It is objective. What is logical is a factual statement. Now, it is true that some people will be incorrect. Some people will misuse what you, I guess, quote unquote logic, but actual logic, all it is the most efficient way to get to truth. And that is an objective claim.
Okay, use real life. Ask Odd. Ask Odd, does electricity, because he knows about electricity. Ask Odd, the electricity.
I'm not an electrician. We've had this discussion. I've never shown you an electrician license, mate. Hey?
I never said you were either. I never said you were either. I know you're not. But
I'm joking,
because
Rash.
you
Continue,
know
brother.
about yeah, now you're trying to make me lose my train of thought. Okay, electricity.
Right? Mate. Come on.
Shut up for a second, please. Electricity, logically, it flows like water. However, it does not actually flow like water, does it?
Oh, it depends. If you're going by what Veritasium tells you, it's not even in the wire. It's a field around the outside. But yeah, it's supposed to be just electrons flowing. What are you on about here? Which way do you want me to go?
But logically, it flows like water, even though it doesn't actually flow like water.
Well, the electrons do, but the effect remains the same per atom because they have the same amount of electrons the whole time. It's like any particular bit of hose still has the same amount of water in it, but it's different water moving down the hose.
Yeah, I know the electrons are supposedly flowing like water. That's how you know, it looks like that, but actually that's not what it's doing. It's doing something different.
That's when you go on to what I was called earlier, the Veritasium thing, isn't it? You know, and I'm not as clued on about that level of it. So
you guys have completely lost me. I don't have a clue what you guys are even talking about.
Further with your analogy.
No, the analogy.
I'm more than willing to entertain it, but can you tighten it up somehow?
Yeah, I don't think I can because I'm not that good with electricity. But
I don't know anything.
Where's Tex? I tried to get him up on a panel last week, Rash, but he wouldn't bite.
Tex is more of the private type. I don't see him doing that.
He doesn't have to show his face or anything. It's just like any other bloody chat with people he knows.
So I want to involve chat here for a moment. Melody says, everyone agrees if you are or not religious, it has nothing to do with intelligence. That is a not true statement because everyone does not agree with that. In fact, I disagree with it. Many people would say the opposite. And a lot of people do agree with you. So, but it's definitely, in no way is it like a monopoly. Like everyone does not agree one way or another.
Yeah, no, that's how we got onto the start of our little discussion about it, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah, because there's a disagreement. And I tend to focus on disagreements because honestly, having a discussion about everything, like having a damn circle jerk about, yeah, man, you're right. Yeah, dude. Like it doesn't really seem like it serves a purpose, you know?
That's why I don't jump up straight away, because what the fuck are we going to talk about if there's no theme?
Right.
But well, we agree a lot. I've got to come up with some poke at something.
Well, there's not anything wrong with agreeing in general. I just don't want the entire conversation to be a bunch of like, yeah, man, pure leftist, man. Like, and like exactly. everything we say is just like, yeah, dude, that's true. Like, it'd just be really boring.
Where the fuck is 504 every now and again?
I don't know what happened to him. The last time that he tried to come on, some kind of problem happened. I think he said he had a new phone, and ever since he hasn't come back.
I'm more worried. Where did Gats has been missing for like 3 or 4 days now?
Has he?
I sent him a message and he hasn't even replied. I sent him a private message on the Discord. He hasn't replied to that either.
Interesting.
Ice got him or what?
Ice got him.
That's not funny, man. It's not funny at all.
Actually, it's actually a very legit possibility. A lot of people live in like a different reality. Like MAGA people are saying there is not one case of an American citizen. There's hundreds of cases of American citizens being fucking deported. And like, how can they not know that?
I heard Tech's backtracking on Trump and MAGA and shit.
That's a good
4 or
sign.
5 days ago.
That's a good
Well,
sign.
I
because
don't know if someone he knows got grabbed, or I don't know why. I have no idea what caused it, but
right,
it could have been one of his mates got grabbed or something.
maybe.
I mean,
there
looks
has
more
been
Italian to me than Mexican, so I can't see him being grabbed.
I don't know, but I have noticed that there is it's not massive, but there is a kind of revolt or a rebellion in the MAGA camp right now, and it's mainly over Epstein. Some of Trump's former supporters are turning on him because he won't release the Epstein files when he said he would, and it's obvious that he's hiding something. Like, why would you not just clear your name immediately? Like, hey, I've done nothing. Here it is. Because
it did come out, didn't it? Like
no.
Pam Bondi or whatever.
They've redacted shit, and that we want the American people in general want unredacted, the complete files to show everything, and he won't do it. In fact, he lied and had like the FBI or CIA or something come out and say that there is no Epstein list. Like, we've heard so many different people point toward this list. Even Epstein himself mentioned it. And all of a sudden you're claiming that it doesn't exist. Like, absolute bullshit. So I'm not saying, for my own point of view, I'm not saying if you believe in a higher power, you are less intelligent. So this is making the same mistake that I mentioned earlier. This is not an individual claim. This is a big picture claim. So the question is, if you believe in a higher power, does that in some way, is that impacted by whether or not you're highly intelligent or not? And I believe that it's obvious that it does, because every belief, everything, anything you can think of is in some way linked to intelligence. It has to be. But there's a reason why, like, extremely intelligent people, for example, according to the statistics, tend to be loners. That's not a random side effect. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for everything you think. There's a logical, maybe logical is a bad word. There's a series of events that happen in your brain that lead you toward certain things. You don't just magically, shit don't pop into your head magically and then all of a sudden that's what you think. That don't happen. So you use your brain, and if you use your brain, intelligence is factored into the equation, because that's all intelligence is basically having a better ability to use your brain, right? Like, if you disagree, explain. Where do you disagree? What specifically? What do you disagree with there?
Can't you argue
my disagreement? But yeah.
Loners are just bad socially, so they're not actually as intelligent as people who are, charismatic and what
you couldn't.
Extra.
Well, you could make that argument if we didn't have the factual numbers that their IQs tend to be higher, and it's not even just a small correlation; it's massive. It's almost to the point where you could almost perfectly point that the higher your IQ goes, the more likely you are to be, what's the word, isolationist, like Einstein, like almost all highly intelligent people in the past and currently. Like, you can't claim that that's just, go ahead.
This also depends on whether you're looking at it from the individual view or as a population view.
And so, so that's what I keep trying to go back to. And that's where,
as a population, and tending to be more and more and more atheistic, to put it bluntly. And I'm not saying it's an IQ thing. They've just put in the effort to study more and do the fucking degrees and all that kind of shit. But, you've got accountants and all that do degrees, but it's a different level of thinking. It still teaches critical thinking and epistemology, and therefore you sort of learn to out-religious yourself from that anyway. It doesn't have to be IQ, though. You can do that as a dumb cunt if the government gives you free education.
Like, I don't see how you separate them, because what you just said, like, basically it repackages what I said and puts it in different words, but it's exactly the same thing. If in some way your brain leads to different outputs unless you're going to say that it's just personality, which I personally don't believe, then obviously intelligence is a crucial component, because that's the only difference, is your brain is coming to a different conclusion than another person's brain. And then you also have the correlation of greater intellectual capacity needed for this position, which would be scientists. And then you go even further and you go to like scientists who have received like something insanely prestigious, like the what the fuck is it called? The Nobel Peace Prize, which when you go to that level, it's 2% of those high level scientists are religious. You can't, at this point, how can you claim that IQ plays no role whatsoever? I don't understand.
Because they're educated.
We've done this already.
Huh?
With the China thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. You brought that up, but I explained why that's, in my opinion, not a valid argument.
A country providing free education, you'll get people more highly educated regardless of IQ level.
Melody, I think you misunderstood what I said, because you say T-Robs isolates himself so that Miss Minnie has low IQ, as he just claimed. I think you misunderstood what I said. The correlation is that people that isolate themselves have higher IQ, not the other way around. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you guys off. I just want to involve
the
chat.
Isolation, I find, radicalizes people, including myself.
It does. And there are negative consequences to isolation. I'm not making a claim that it's all good, but the correlation is there.
I've worked in an excavator too long. So, yeah.
So, and also you don't look at things as black and white, because people tend to be more isolated. That don't mean that like your intelligence, therefore you hate people. That's like a big jump and like jumping to a conclusion without evidence. All that it means is that you're less likely, from my perspective, to need social interaction. What is social interaction? What does it do? To me, and I'm sure many of you will disagree with this, it's essentially, if you boil it down to its barest form, it's insecurity. You may not like that, but that's what I believe. The reason why I say that is because it doesn't really serve much of a purpose other than to make you feel good, other than to make you feel that you're, quote, social, or it doesn't actually solve any problems or do anything. Like,
we are social creatures, though. We've always been defined.
We are, however,
play into it.
So, however, we are social animals. I'm not going to deny that. We are not equally social animals, meaning every individual does not require the same level of social interaction. And that kind of ties into this whole study.
So, it has nothing to do with intelligence, like Melody just wrote, though, right? Well, continue, and I don't mean to shut you down, but
no, you're fine. You're fine. But right? I completely disagree. And the evidence, I'm not going to say the evidence proves me correct, but the evidence definitely provides backing for my position.
Trobs.
Like, yeah.
Okay. You said you like having other people around, like with the different ideas and all that. That's actually a good thing. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck down your own little rabbit holes.
It is. So okay. So this is what I. Sorry, go ahead.
They're going to get this narrow path that they're going to go down. Mm-hmm. Logically, that's okay. Logically, to me, that's what you end up sort of doing. You're by yourself, or you actually want to meet people so you get other ideas. And I think in the case of, say, Einstein, even though he was a loner, he did spend his time around a lot of other peers, scientists had different ideas.
You're right. I don't disagree with anything you just said, but this is why I tried to kind of cover this beforehand. This is sort of what I was talking about when I'm black and white thinking. I'm not talking about like you just go to the extreme where you never talk to another human again. I'm saying highly intelligent people, and this is backed by the evidence we have in case studies, need less social interaction than people that aren't. That does not mean that it's like extreme opposite, like you become like you move out into the middle of the woods and never talk to another human again. That's not what it means. it means you need less social interaction to, I don't know what to call it, to fulfill that need to feel like you're human or whatever. Like you just don't have that to the same extent. It's not an extreme difference that you understand my position here, or what I'm trying to explain?
Yeah, I think it's not necessary, but it is helpful to have other social interactions.
Oh, absolutely. I
That's
absolutely agree with
what I'm
that.
saying.
So the question would be, where's the line? Because I would hope that we can both agree that too much of either side can be negative. So if you're just completely shut yourself off from society, I don't need to explain all the negative ramifications of that. But you can also be so concerned about fitting in, about conforming to society, about what everyone else thinks about you, that it completely destroys you and any chance you have of like growth. Huh?
You mean like middle-aged ladies who are keeping up with the Jeffersons next door and all that?
Kind of, but I would say it's not specific to women. It happens to a lot of people.
Happens to guys as well, yeah.
Yes, it just in a different way. But like men tend to be more combative. Like they tend to be like, it's all about pitting myself against other men and showing I'm the bigger man. That to me is the same social insecurity.
I made more money. I went to the gym. I'm buffer than you.
Yes.
Or, you know, stuff like that.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is there's a line, and I think we'll all have different answers on where that line is. Like in the spectrum.
The line is going to the mosque on one Sunday.
You kind of broke up a little bit. What was that?
The line is you go to the mosque one day a week on Friday.
But yeah, like, so again, it's not an extreme difference. It's not like absolute, you never talk to humans again. It's you don't have as much need. Like, I think, let's put it this way. If your average human does not engage in any sort of social activity for an extended period of time, they'll start having bad feelings. They'll start feeling like, you know, that they'll have typical like chemical reactions that let them know something's wrong, right? Everybody has it to some extent. But according to the evidence, at least that I've seen, and there may be more that I haven't seen, and I'm fine admitting that, but from what I've seen, people, the higher the intelligence goes, the less social interaction is needed before you hit that, or you need a whole lot less social interaction before you start seeing those negative effects, those like feelings of like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's a spectrum. It's not like black or white. It's like, where are you on that spectrum is the question, and why? And I think you should analyze everything. And that's why I believe in the Socratic method. You don't take anything for granted, and you don't believe anything is true just because you feel a certain way. You analyze every belief you have and question.
Is that called the Socratic method, is it?
I think it is, but I could have it wrong.
I'm not testing you, man. I have no idea.
I can't remember, but I think the Socratic method is basically questioning everything. And if there's not evidence for like a claim,
pretty much do that.
You threw it away. It's gone. Like it's
exactly. That's why you slowly get rid of Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy and all that kind of shit. Exactly.
Yes, and when you start doing it, you start realizing there's a lot of things that you thought were logical, but they weren't. That you just convinced yourself they were logical because they serve some sort of defense mechanism, or it was attached to your identity. So you thought that in order to be you, you have to hold this position, stuff like that. And I've found numerous ones. Like love was the biggest one for me. Like,
I think atheism is the biggest one for me.
What do you mean?
Atheism is just a rejection of your belief, brother. For fuck's sake.
But it's that thing of, well, I don't want some guy judging me when I die. So I feel better about myself by being an atheist.
You don't know who's going to judge you. Is it the Christian God or is it...
Yeah.
So the problem with that is atheists don't have I guess a way of putting it is a belief system that anchors them to where you can make that sort of generalization. Because the only thing atheists have in common is a lack of belief in a deity or deities. There's nothing else.
We already agree that atheists don't believe in God. We already agree on that. That's not the issue.
I know, but
the reason you don't like the idea.
Yeah, exactly. That's my
reason
point.
You don't like.
Exactly. You're assuming that all atheists don't believe for the same reason, which is really illogical. Like, how can you?
Okay,
how can you assume that?
Are you saying that what I just said is not what atheists believe, or at least some of them to some degree?
So
do you personally?
Dude, you just said some of them. That means more than one. That means like 2 or 3 atheists out of all the atheists, right?
So hold on.
Okay,
yes.
But you've got to start with.
Okay.
This is what we got
if your statement, so you change something there. So if your statement is some is very important. Atheists believe because of, I don't know, a defense mechanism of some sort that you described. Absolutely. I have no doubt that happens, but that's not what you originally said. You worded it as if that is all atheists.
No. I didn't mean it as all atheists. Okay. That's all that atheism is. Obviously, it's not. There's more to it than that. Obviously. Okay. But okay. So yes, that's a factor, and I completely agree with you. And if that happens, and you can show that someone got to atheism for that reason, I'm just as against it as I am against theism in general, or theism that's arrived to through like illogical means. I don't think anything should be arrived to. That's why I'm asking the 2 atheists here. Do you like the idea of being judged by an all-powerful being after you die for something you don't know on Earth? Do you like that
honestly, for me, I can only speak for myself. I can't even answer that question because it's sort of a loaded question, because you assume that I believe in the God. I don't believe in the God.
But I'm just saying.
Not even loaded. What's judging us?
Do you like that idea?
So it doesn't matter, because look, whether I like it or not is irrelevant, because I don't believe in it. In order to dislike it, I have to believe in it. I have to believe that there is a God to judge me in order to have a defense mechanism predicated on that defense, right? Like, it don't make sense.
Just God is a deistic one or a pantheistic one, so I can't see that God judging anything. That is the only one that makes any. Hold on, let me finish. You ask questions. That is the only one that makes any feasible sense in any kind, and it's the one that cannot be proven in any possible way of any kind, and would absolutely not be affecting anybody or anything in the way that people pray for or demand. So it has no effect over me. There's no reason for me to give a shit about it. There's no reason for any belief. Full stop.
Let's use an example.
And all the ones left are ones with characteristics.
Let's use an example of something we know doesn't exist. Okay? Do you think Thanos was right to snap his fingers and kill half the universe?
That's a complicated question.
It's philosophical too, and it's a personal belief thing. But I have no problem with that, because I don't know half the population of the universe.
I ask you a question, and then as soon as it's about God, no, I can't do it.
Well, no, it's okay. So
I said yes.
If you want me to answer the question and say that it's hypothetical, I'm happy to do it, as long as we acknowledge that it's hypothetical. I do not like the idea that there's a creator that can judge me for something that he himself created. So, like, in other words, it's illogical the whole way around, because if there's a creator, he created everything in existence, correct? And in all major organized religions, that's how it works. If he created everything, he also created the capacity to do the things that he dislikes. And the people that do the things that he dislikes do not know factually that the things that they're doing are wrong. Otherwise, they wouldn't do them. So he is essentially damning the people for what he created them to be like. It makes no sense at all.
No, well, number one, knowing that you did something wrong, well, for Muslims anyway, knowing that you did something wrong is actually
Mhm.
part of it. If you do something wrong out of ignorance,
Mhm.
it doesn't count. So that
So
it's not there. There is a certain fairness to it.
okay, so if
You
there's
did
like
answer
a
the question. Yeah, go on.
I didn't. I thought I
You did.
answered it.
You did. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Did you only have to go to the mosque one day a week on Saturdays or Fridays or whatever you just said earlier, Rash? Because we
Friday is
both
not.
laughed.
Yeah, I
We
know. It's
both
funny.
laughed at you, and I realised after, oh shit, I don't actually know. That might be actually the correct thing, and we laughed at you. And I don't mean to be rude, or that was ignorance if I was. So, yeah.
No, that was the line between how much social interaction you need. Because you go to the mosque on Friday, you're
Yeah.
surrounded by people. Absolutely.
But is that the norm? Is what I'm saying? I don't know your religion. Like, do you only go once a week on that day, or do you? Because you're supposed to pray 5 times a day, aren't you, as well, or something like that?
5 times a
Yeah,
day,
wow.
plus whatever else you want to do. Plus Friday, you go to the mosque.
Yeah, okay. No, cool. So Friday is your day, whereas Sunday is Christian's day. And I only found out recently that the Sabbath is Saturday. I thought the
Yeah,
Sabbath
that's
was
what the Jews.
Sunday. Yeah, full
No,
on.
yeah, the Jews got their Sabbath. I think they call it something else though, but it's Saturday for the
And
Jews.
so you're not supposed to work on Saturday. I suppose going to
Mm.
church for them is working. Yeah, okay.
You know, I don't know.
Just a moment. I want to respond to Melody. I'm ignoring, but not on purpose. It's because there's not really a chance to cut in. But honestly, I don't do tests like that because I don't believe in them. I think they're fake. So I personally think there's legitimacy towards certain standardized tests that have a whole lot of peer review and like criticism behind it, like the Stanford Binet, for example. But in psychology, according to G theory and like the study that we've culminated in now, emotional intelligence does not exist. It's not a thing. And all of these other types of intelligence, like Garner's multiple intelligence theory, has been thoroughly debunked in recent years by G theory. The reason why is because those different things like kinesthetic, spatial, those different like types of intelligences, they're not types of intelligences, they're personality characteristics. G theory proved that there's only one intelligence. And the reason they did so is because people that have high levels in like, say, bodily kinesthetic tended to have higher levels in all across the board, meaning there isn't different intelligences. There's only one. So I mean, if it's fun, maybe, but I don't take anything like that seriously. And I don't like doing them because I take IQ tests very seriously. I mean, a lot of people disagree with me, but I take them as legitimate. And there's a whole lot that goes into creating them without like bias and all this shit. So I don't like taking tests that call themselves IQ tests that aren't, because it kind of shits on actual IQ tests. That's just my opinion.
Is EQ more related to morality?
So EQ is called emotional intelligence. Personally, I don't think it exists, but it is a thing. It's just not a type of intelligence. The way most people describe it, it's your ability to be emotionally smart, I guess. Like, I'm low in this, if there is such a thing. Like, to me, it's a personality characteristic, but it's like your ability to understand people just through emotional shit, to be more empathetic with very baseline shit. Like, you don't have to have things spelled out to you.
Okay, I got a question about you again. Sorry. Okay, you know those what do they call them? Psychopaths, the ones who have no emotions. But they're charismatic. They can understand the emotions of others. Is it possible for them to have a high EQ?
I don't think so, because I think that's what EQ is. That, like, I think that's how it would be defined. So it's possible for them. Like, a lot of people get confused because they are good at, like, say, like me. I'm good at physiognomy, which is like reading facial expressions and body language. That's not
Right.
emotional. That's not empathy. That's looking at it like a machine, right? Surely you can understand the difference. So that's what sociopaths and psychopaths tend to do. They tend to look at things through like a scientific point of view, and they use these cues to gauge what the other people are feeling. And they oftentimes manipulate them by doing so. But other people see it and they go, oh, they're highly empathetic. No, they're not.
So EQ is actually a measure of your actual empathy, not the understanding of empathy.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say because I could be wrong. Like I'm not really sure about the actual how it's accurately defined.
Just interesting.
Again, me personally, I don't think it's actually a thing. Or at least, okay, I think it's a thing, but it's not a type of intelligence because you can't gauge it in the same way through like a standardized measurement. I think it's like a personality trait, and like it's a spectrum. Like everybody has these personality traits that put them in like higher or lower on spectrums across the board. And like, for example, me, I would just admit I suck at like what you would call EQ. I'm like probably at the extreme low. I didn't call myself a psychopath, but I do have psychopathic or sociopathic tendencies, and I may be. I wouldn't deny it if I were tested, but I don't have any evidence that I am.
Yeah, I had to check as well when I went to my psychiatrist. I had a feeling I was, but apparently I'm not, so it's okay.
Why did you have a feeling that you were?
Because certain things I started blocking out, trauma and whatnot, and I thought I had no more emotions and stuff. But at the same time, I was outwardly showing a lot of emotions in other areas. So the psychiatrist said, no, you're just putting that stuff out, and you actually are just a normal human being.
Your frame of reference, your perspective to go by, if you experience other people do, you can't. So like it kind of makes sense that you would ask a professional like, hey, am I normal? At least in that way. Was it like an XY?
Psychology, but I don't really like it.
I love psychology, but there's certain areas that I consider pseudoscience. And that's the thing with psychology. It's a soft science. It's not like math. It's not like something to where you can't deny it. And it's like it's such a tricky, slippery ass subject that, like, for instance, I think not Freud, but well, there's some things he was wrong about, but I think Jung was just a crazy person in a lot of ways. Like human psychology, they're not. They're just like based on your observations of humans. And then you started saying, hey, professor, this is the blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not objective. It's not an actual thing. So I'm critical about it.
I don't know. I wouldn't consider math science. I think it's just a fact. It's not the same. And sometimes in the real world. No.
So I half agree. I think that it does science, but I would call it a soft science, falsifiable in the same way.
Even the numbers are arbitrary. The measurements are arbitrary.
You can say that.
Math isn't even B, C.
Right, right. So I'll agree to an extent, but what I would say is it's not an extreme. Like, it's not like all psychology is people just coming up with random hunches. It's serious over and over in order to come to a treated like science. And it's not just it's soft. It's like, I don't know of another way to put it. It's not a diehard psychology fan that someone would be like, yeah, but it's not the same. I was being emotional.
No, I just like watching the crime dramas. The crime dramas, they always do psychological. Oh, his father abused him, so therefore he became like that.
So there's some truth to that, and it's why like certain therapists will seek out those and to be rooted, especially in like very important to me. So I had a therapist were like, okay, tell me about my fucking personality. So yes. I think it's jump on shit. Like you see a correlation and then all of a sudden you're pointing to that correlation as it's just stupid.
Right. Yeah. I think a psychologist should just be somebody you can talk to, who sort of understands human being behavior a bit and all that kind of stuff.
That's more like a therapist, and I think they're very important. And I think that everyone should have a therapist. I don't think it's like a sign of weakness or anything like that. But because then it becomes more of like it's like it's more based on it, and knowledge is more important.
She's a therapist, but she's got a psychological something like that.
Yeah, but she can read your brain.
But
She don't
even
even
like,
know
what was
how to
that, Tara?
describe her. You cut out, man.
There
What was
wasn't a
that?
single woman on the issue.
I'm all about
7 of
Data,
9.
man. Data's my dude.
Everybody loves 7 of 9. God damn it.
What's 7 of 9?
The
Tall,
Borg, half Borg.
Oh. I like everything that's highly logical. Like I have a thing for like Sheldon Cooper of The Big Bang Theory. And it really it really crushed me when I found out that he's fake. Because I always believed you can be a highly intelligent person and pretend to be stupid, but you can't do the opposite. And I was wrong. It turns out that Jim Parsons is like a basketball, like fucking jock type person. And he's actually kind of a moron. And he just spent a whole lot of effort learning how to pronounce certain like jargon and stuff. And he just came off as like a genius, but he's not. And I was like, dude, he's fucking not real. That's bullshit.
Yeah. I think if it's Star Trek though, Prob might like or find Paul attractive. The Paul is from Enterprise. She's the Vulcan. So no emotions, just like Prob. And she's highly logical, but she's a Vulcan.
So are Vulcans the ones that have like the spine shit on their forehead?
No, they're the ones with the pointy ears.
Oh, yeah.
Spock.
Spock, yeah.
Spock was Vulcan.
I love Spock, so you're probably right. I probably would think she's hot. I'm a sapiosexual intelligence.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yes, that. You. Sapiens are specific.
Yeah, I don't know if sapiosexual is based on the root word sapiens or not. I don't know if it's the same. I'm not sure.
There's more than just homo.
I've learned about like our different relatives in the past has been from what's that girl's name?
Lucy.
I showed Rash and I was like, she's hot because
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I can't remember her name though, but everything I know about like older genuses and shit and like Homo erectus is from her. And everybody else don't get it, or not everybody, but a lot of people don't get it because she's considered like nerdy. She wears glasses and shit, but she's hot to me because she's in. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. She's hot to me because she's highly intelligent.
Oh, she's really good. She's she's been on the Atheist Experience and all that kind of shit. The Line. Yeah. She's with Forrest Farrakhan doing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's from UK.
Really?
So all the so all the Brits know her. So if you come across them in chat, they'll all know the Gutsick Gibbon. Or just describe her like you did. And they'll tell you who she is. She gets into biology a lot, into evolution. That's her thing.
Yeah, she likes to use it to disprove certain like apologetics and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's cool. I only hold hands. What does that mean?
No tongue.
That means I don't have sex with people. I just hold hands, and that's like me getting off. I like blow a load in my pants every time I touch a hand. I'm going to be making a video soon. I want to put a little bit more effort than usual. It's going to piss a lot of people off.
Uh-oh. What's it about?
Veganism.
Oh, God.
I'm going to be covering it. I'm going to be covering it from a social angle. I mean, not a social, a moral angle. from an environmental angle, and there's one more I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, and from a psychological angle as well. But that kind of ties into the moral. But yeah, a lot of people are going to get pissed off about it. It'll be okay. But I mean, everybody's welcome to disagree with
Awesome.
me.
Yeah, I saw something about screwing up the environment again by talking about fixing the environment of the dodo. Apparently, there's a tree somewhere around where the dodo was that stopped having children. Stopped. The seeds would drop, but no plants would come up. And they figured
What
out
the
that
hell?
the dodos ate the seed and processed it in its stomach. And once it goes through the dodo, then it can germinate. So they wanted to turkeys there, and they figured out turkeys wouldn't do the job properly. So now they're looking at importing other animals there, other birds that could maybe do the job. And I'm thinking every time we've done something like that, you get the cane toads in Australia.
Yep.
You know, you get rits and all that.
It's usually fails in some way because the ecosystem is extremely delicate, and a lot of people don't realize how delicate. One fucking like everything is interconnected. In fact, you could use that as a sort of as an argument for God in a way. I probably wouldn't agree, but it's at least you can make a pretty logical point that like everything is so interconnected. Yeah. But
sorry, people already do. They already say that. Yeah.
I figured they would. But I think that's actually one of the better arguments if you do. Not that I agree, but I think that's a better argument than some. Like faith. To me, that's not an argument. But yeah, it is really interesting how everything relies on everything. And like a cycle. Like, for example, although I'm a vegan, I am very pro hunting, especially deer. In fact, I'll eat deer meat. If I ever decide to do it, that'll be the only meat I'll consume. And some people go, "You're not a vegan." Well, the whole reason is because as a vegan, I only do so not for health reasons. That's just sort of an added bonus in some cases. But it's because for moral reasons. And morally, you're actually doing more harm by not killing deer because their natural predators, which were primarily wolves and mountain lions, have been driven to almost extinction by mankind. So deer have such a population issue that they actually destroy the rest of the environment by overpopulating. So killing them is actually a positive thing.
My thing with the ecology, though, is that I find it a bad argument for the God thing because I think it's just logically how it would go. Everything naturally fits in. Something eats something else, something eats something else.
Yes.
If something changes, then everything shifts around. Some species totally die out, but something else takes over. I just think it as a logical progression.
That's how I look at it. Yes, but I at least think I agree with you on that statement. But I at least think that is something that you can point to that actually has some sort of like logical backing behind it. You know, it's at least an attempt to use logic, and I like that. I can get behind that, I guess is what I'm saying. I still think personally, huh?
You sound a bit condescending, like I'm not normally capable of logic.
No, and by the way, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about theists in general. So I'm biased by my experience, obviously. But in my experience, that's what I tend to get. I try to look for I want to reach people and understand why they believe what they do. And usually it's like, well, you just got to have faith. And I'm like, dude, give me a fucking answer, please. Like, that does nothing. It doesn't help anyone understand anything. It's like, it's not an attempt to be an asshole. It's just my experiences. So I'm actually saying it's a positive thing because I don't believe all theists are stupid or anything. It's just, I really respect it when they can at least have some logical grounding for their beliefs.
Well, what I find is that people just choose what they want to believe. And that includes atheists as well. They just choose what they want to believe. That's just the way people are.
Right. I disagree with that. I think on the whole, I know, but I think on the whole, atheists in general don't believe anything based on what they want to believe. They base things on what evidence points them to.
Yeah.
At least that's my position, and I know we
So
disagree on that.
I gave you an example of that girl who she's like a biologist. No, she's a physicist who became a doesn't matter. And she said that one of the examples she gave was this Native American woman. I think it was a Native American woman who was a scientist, a biologist, or a botanist, and she knew about the old traditions of how to look after certain wild plants. She goes to a professor, I want to do a study on whether it's better to harvest these plants or let them grow wild.
I'm going to let you continue, but I've seen this and I thought it was oh, you're the one that posted the video, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, her professor, the guy who's supposed to, be the smart one in the group, said, no, this is stupid. It's a waste of time. Obviously, it's better if you leave the plant alone. And he was wrong. It's better if you harvest the plant.
Yes, so, and that is a problem in science, and that's hubris. It's the same thing I was describing when I talked about psychologists that see a pattern, and then they automatically go toward that pattern as if it has to be the case. That's the same problem in science. It is, you're right.
It's hubris based on the idea that your culture somehow has more knowledge than, what we know today. That's rubbish. That can't be true.
Not only is it rubbish in certain ways, not in all ways. When it comes to technology, in many ways, we are advanced. We just factually are. But in many ways, I believe that people in the past had advantages over us. We are distracted by so much shit now. Back then, they didn't have all this shit. They could actually analyze the human condition. They could understand what makes people tick in a much better way because they didn't have everything else that we have. You know what I mean? Like, we have much shit going on. Like, they could just fucking exist and fucking focus on understanding these things. And that's why I think especially Eastern shit, like old school Chinese and other Asian philosophies, give us some of the best fucking philosophy that we've ever had. And the West like to shit on it, but I disagree. I think we could learn a lot from those people.
That's because those cultures are generally been around a bit longer as a civilization.
Exactly.
That's why that is. But at the same
I agree.
time, that's right. It did not have handphones to stare at all day, or like me playing bloody Oxygen Not Included all day.
Right, like me playing Fallout 4 all day. But
yes, that's right.
Yeah, I admit that is true, and in a way, so I know what I'm missing, so I would never go back. But if I was born in the past, how much more could I actually contribute? So much more. I wouldn't be fucking distracted by all this bullshit. Not to mention the way our global system and capitalism has turned us into machines for profit. We can't actually just do what the fuck we want to do like we used to. And so we kind of suck now in a way.
I mean, in the old days, you get this idea, they had to spend all day in the field, otherwise they'd starve to death.
That's not true. That's bullshit. In fact, we work on average Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, what you were about to say that they worked on average not very long, right? And not many hours a day. Yeah.
For us, it's 8 hours a day and sometimes up to 12 or so in some countries. For them, it was just a subsistence living, just to survive. It was 3 to 4 hours a day. It wasn't shit. They actually got to live.
I mean, we get this idea, I think, because of slavery. Because in slavery, no, we're not just producing for ourselves. We're using the human being as a vehicle to export and create a lot, cut the sugarcane and export it to bloody England and all that. That's where we get this idea of we should be working long hours.
I agree, and also to a lesser extent, it's based on our system before this, feudalism. Under feudalism, if you were born and as a farmer, you existed only to supply shit to the king. You worked all the time. It's basically what you're saying. It's slavery. You were a slave essentially, and you just got to keep enough just to barely survive on, but all of your labor was basically sent toward the king. And
I think that
like,
very much depends on the king, though, doesn't it?
it
I think
does.
in a lot of cases that wouldn't. I mean, what are they going to do in winter? They're not
That's
going to be hard in winter.
that's absolutely true. But so this isn't like a factual always. This is a general claim. Like in general, under feudalism, that's what happened.
Right.
Because kings, they're kind of like our CEOs now. They get power, they want more and more power. They're never happy. They want more and more and more. Then they want to take over. They become imperialists. They want to take over the neighboring kingdom and shit, just like countries do now. And
so they
it's
don't
sort
lose
of
that
been,
power.
yeah, it's been like the human condition forever. It's just, I think that's going back to what you're saying, Rash. I think that's part of it. It's like it's been ingrained as that, like, this is the way, this is how it's always been. And that's why I hate it when people say it is what it is. I'm like, dude, it'll always be that way. If you're always going to fucking shrug your shoulders and go, yep, that's how it was 100 years ago, and that's how it'll be forever. And I'm like, yeah, because you're a fucking idiot that just shrugs your shoulders and don't fucking do anything. We don't have to live like this. Look at the fucking French Revolution. French Revolution actually created, in a way, the left and right. The French actually created that whole paradigm because the people that supported the revolution were on the left, and those that wanted things as they were on the right. That's where we get that term from. And the French Revolution changed everything. All of a sudden, people actually have a fucking voice. People actually get to matter, and like they can work for their own ends instead of some rich piece of shit. And so, yeah, but as long as people are like, yeah, it is what it is, nothing will ever change.
Fucking my ex used to say it all the time. I hated it.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
How it is, because I'm not going to do that.
So you can sometimes you can say it and it's valid, but I don't like it when people use it for like it's a way of saying I'm not going to deal with that because it's a waste of time because I can't do anything. Yeah, but you look at it from a you perspective. If every single person on the planet says that same thing, nothing ever changes. It has to start with somebody. That's how it always happens. And you can't say that people aren't powerful. You know, in the past, how many times have we thwarted fucking tyrannical leaders and shit just through the sheer power of people? There's more of us than there are of them, and that's very fucking powerful. They need us. We don't need them.
And they're trying to change that, though, aren't they? Actually, they're always trying to change that.
It's a constant battle, always. And we have like a pendulum to where it'll swing in our favor if you're on the left anyway, and then it'll go against us. And right now, at least in the States and in the world as a whole, there's a massive right-wing shift in the world right now, and I don't fucking know why. It's crazy.
It's almost like
Your
a conspiracy.
EPA is just giving up on you.
I don't know if
Did
I
you
would
hear about that?
I wouldn't call it a conspiracy. I think it's like a natural thing or a sociological thing more than like something that like rich people made happen. I think it's like
ignorant fear.
That's some of it. And well, there is some conspiracy to it because there is a concerted effort for the people in power to retain their power. That's obvious. Like, of course, they want to keep what they have. So they're always throwing money at keeping things the way it is, the status quo. And people are fooled by that.
It's just decimated your EPA so your cars can be fully petrol. And
the thing is, every time there's some evil thing like that fucks everybody, there's always something that they tell people that stupid people believe. They say, well, what this does, getting rid of the EPA, it cuts costs for you so that you get a cheaper product. And the EPA doesn't do anything anyway because climate change is a fraud or a hoax. Like, there's always some lies that they spew out and people believe that shit. And it's hard to combat that because they've been lied to from conservatives for so long. It's like, how are you just going to say, hey, no, that's not true. Here's some facts. Because they think that like facts are a conspiracy theory. They think that like all of the fucking like EPA scientists and shit, the people that have done the hard work, that have all like 90-something% of all of them that claim that man-made climate change is not only a thing, but is the primary driver of climate problems around the world, they think that they're like paid off by what? I don't even fucking know their conspiracies. Like they're paid off by like green companies. They think
That's
that like
disappointing.
they think these tiny ass fucking like nobody companies that have almost no funding are paying off people for this, but they don't believe that the actual companies, like the oil companies that are paying off people and like have massive money to throw into lobbying, they don't think that they are doing that. Like, how the fuck can you think that? It's so weird.
It's just disappointing that the most powerful country in the world is just throwing a blind eye to it, because now all the other countries will go, well, if they are, we will too.
You're right. And also, well, that's why they say with great power comes great responsibility. That's the old Spider-Man thing, and it's true. But it's by design. We want to retain our fucking power. We want to keep like the hegemony over the world. And in order to do so, we want to keep business running and manufacturing. Well, not manufacturing, but like we want to keep the system as it is. So we don't care about the fucking world.
The way it was, not the way it is.
I
the
agree.
Way it was run by the sun, which is essentially what we are still doing. It's just we're stealing stored energy, which is the destructive part, because it carbonizes. Fucking, we can do it all without that fucking energy. It just
we've already proven that this is actually conspiracy, but I think it's a verified
and solar
one.
And water and geothermic are all fucking awesome.
Oh, it's easy.
Or one of them, or Sweden. One of them up there runs their whole country's power off of geothermic fucking heat.
Yep.
That's all free energy. Not one citizen has to pay for
heat.
Because,
the thing is lobbying is the biggest problem, because it's basically legal bribery. The people with the most money in this country are people that stand to gain the most from all of these things that benefit people not ever seeing the light of day. And that's why back in the day, and this is a conspiracy, but I think it's a verified one, we had electric vehicles long ago. And what happened is they got fucking lobbied against, and they shut the shit down so that it wouldn't interfere with profit.
Yeah. And there's like a big 30-year delay on technology towards batteries.
Yep. And that's for the same reason. We fight against anything that makes progress if it threatens profit, and everything that is progress threatens current profit. That's just the name of the game.
We're getting raped with our electricity and gas bills over here. Yeah, we dig up or we mine natural gas and coal and everything from our own land, and we sell it offshore for a higher price than what we pay. So they sell it offshore as a preferred customer, which increases the prices here. Whereas that country I was just saying before, getting their energy from geothermic problems, they give it to their own citizens. Isn't that a nice thing for a government to do? I wish I was in a country that was kind.
A government that actually gives a shit about its citizens? What the hell?
Well, exactly.
Sure, you're aware that geothermal can be done everywhere, except that there's now a new technology where they can drill deeper using lasers. But that's still experimental. Yeah. It is working.
Well, there's a lot of shit coming out like that. I've seen all sorts of like technology articles about and videos. Like right now, we're living in this age where there's like new shit coming out like every week of like more sustainable shit, like hydrogen, pulling shit out of actual just thin air to use for like unlimited fucking energy, like everywhere. There's something always coming out. And
hydrogen's waste is water.
So exactly.
That's pretty
cool. It's great. It solves so many problems, but no one cares about that in the United States.
And that's what
talking about is. The United States. Sorry. Yeah, and education. Tell me if this sounds familiar. At the turn of the century, Malaysia, coming out of the colonial stuff and all that, wants to become wealthy. So they educate their citizens. There's all these programs. You send these people off overseas to get an education so they can become professors over here. So now everybody's educated, right? You can't get a job without having a degree over here. And then what we see there's this rise in Islamic fundamentalism, religious fundamentalism at the same time, happening after everybody's educated. And I think that's on purpose, because once you have an educated population, it becomes like what Trump said. The people start realizing they have the power. So they start sponsoring the fundamentalists. Does this sound like what's happening in America?
Well, I don't think that that's happening. In fact, I think that's a good thing, and I agree with you that that's probably what's happening. And that's why, at least in the United States and many Western countries, they go through a concerted effort to make sure that education is really scarce and that it's controlled, and not many people have access to it, because you're right. The more education there is, the more people realize that they have more power and they've been lied to and all this shit. And once people realize that, it threatens the current status quo.
Yeah.
But what I would say is not true about us. We are not really getting more educated. They're trying to dismantle the Department of Education almost entirely. They're trying to go completely in the other direction to make us fuck forever.
And I think that's possibly what's going to happen in Malaysia. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
you've gone through those stages already. You've gone. You're getting to a more extreme level because you're further along this line. That seems to happen, and it seems to happen like you guys said.
Countries.
Okay, I thought your point was the opposite, that it was positive and you guys were getting more educated and you were fighting against that. But you're saying that it's actually happening like us.
I think it's happening like you guys, because Malaysia is always about 10 years behind America on just culture, the way things happen, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think what needs to happen is Malaysia, I think what they're doing is they're looking at profit and like sustainability, and they want to make money. They want to survive. Yeah. But if they're doing that, they need to fucking look at us and how we're about to go down hard and go, hey, this is not the way. We need to follow like fucking Scandinavian countries like Sweden and those countries, because they're doing it right. Like, don't fucking follow America. That's stupid.
Get rich and wealthy. Bring your poorest up with you.
Yeah.
You're an entity as United States. You know,
but the thing that people don't realize is it's not just pure empathy to help the people below you. It helps everyone. Everyone.
Exactly.
The whole society benefits when a couple of people don't own fucking everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like people look at it like it's a zero-sum game.
Progress.
In order to help people, you have to fuck yourself. That's not how it works. Like, that's not true. It helps everyone to give a shit about other people.
You need variety, and you need to change, and you need to advance. And I don't get what these people that hate progressives are all about, because
it's in their name.
The thing of living is progression.
Not to them. You know? They live in this like bubble of like worshiping the past. They want things to be the way things are. It's like they fear change. And it's sad because you can't fight change. It's
Amish
never
people.
Kinda. It's they're extreme, but it's like the same idea.
Okay.
And that's the thing. You got to constantly learn. Like, times change, technology changes, everything changes. You change with it, but they don't.
I hate getting off my ass to change along with it often, but I see the benefits.
Right.
You know?
And I think that's part of it. Yes, there's some shit that sucks about it, but we can at least see kind of like beyond the horizon. We can look into the future and go, hey, we're doing this for a reason. At least hopefully we're working towards something better. It seems to me like conservatives are incapable of looking into the future. Like, either that or because they're so they're so fueled by fear. They're constantly fear-mongered into any sort of change could potentially lead us into going backwards. They're like, hey, it works, so why change it? That's how they look at everything.
Different sort of topic all of a sudden, but I found out, or someone was mentioning, that JT had over 50-odd Christian videos in his collection on one of his channels.
Really?
Did you ever come across them?
Well,
I didn't know that at all.
I haven't seen his videos, but I've debated him in the past. I know that he's a Christian, and he we've had disagreements in the past, but it seems now he'll pop in, but he usually doesn't discuss religion. I think his position is that it's kind of it's a waste of time because he'll never change my mind and I'll never change his.
I stopped talking to him when I had a whole conversation with him about Jesus and shit. And then when he came here, he said, "Oh, but I said that he was just a human and I never said he was divine." And my whole fucking conversation about Jesus is he's divine, obviously, and God or God's son, take your pick. But
yeah,
fucking if he's human, as an atheist, then I just don't give a shit. From the moment you think that Jesus was always a human, then okay, move on to a different story. That's got nothing to do with the Jesus that's divine.
So to me, it depends on why you brought the question up in the first place. If the whole point is we're discussing that I think Christianity is false, and then you say Jesus was a human, I'm like, why the fuck are you bringing that up? Like, well,
yeah.
But if we're discussing it just through the historicity of Jesus, and that's all we're talking about, then I'm fine with it. Like, I can say,
that's fine.
Yeah, I think he was a human, and I think he existed. I don't know that, but I think he existed, and I think he was probably a good dude. Like, that's it. But I don't believe he was the son of God. I don't think any of this other shit.
So I agree totally. And because of that, therefore, we're not on the same topic as we started with, which was, is religion or not religion, is God real?
Right.
Or down that pathway, however you want to word it.
Right. I agree in that case.
You want to get to?
I don't know if this is what happened, but this has happened to me. But sometimes I have an intention in a debate and someone else, my opponent has a different intention and we just didn't say it. And like they are coming at it from a different angle. And I just assume that we're talking about the same thing. And that's why I think it's so important to have definitions and to start by definitions and going, okay, this is what we're talking about. This is what we're disagreeing on, all that stuff, because it's so easy to talk past one another where you're not even on the same shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like talking to JT. Apart from that, he's generally good and, he lets you speak and you let him speak. It's, it's a conversation that advances. Yeah. It's not just bickering.
I've never had a real problem with him. I do think sometimes, and this is not a fact, this is just like a inclination of mine. I think sometimes he kind of like sneakily will try to fuel drama. And I'm like, we're not doing
that he runs and shit. Yeah, man.
Well, no, I mean when he's
thing, isn't it?
Yes, but I mean when he's here. And I'm like, we don't do that shit. I don't do that shit. We're here for serious discussion. We can have disagreements, all that, but we're not here to shit on each other. We're not here to have a pissing contest. That's a waste of fucking. I don't do that shit.
Oh, that's why I bring up originally the fucker's got 50 Christian videos on his channel, apparently, or one of them. Because, I had no idea until a few days ago. And it's like, I haven't checked any, but fuck, I've been talking to you about that topic, but brother, I didn't know you'd put that much effort into it. Like even the videos that I do that are religious based, they're just a few minutes on an AI generator. I don't bother putting much more effort into it.
Right.
I have bothered to debunk that Cyrus prophecy though, which a few streams ago of yours, one guy brought that one up and I didn't quite know it, but I can't remember off memory. I can try and bring up the notes now if you want. I don't know how well it'll go.
Well, can you like very briefly explain what the Cyrus prophecy is without like extreme detail?
Yeah, hold on.
And by the way, while we're at a breaking point, I do need to leave soon. Originally, I was going to run for an hour. Like, family member will just have to wait for another day. But I do need to go probably within the next 5-10 minutes.
No, I can't. I'll have to do it another time. It's not working.
Okay. What's that, Rash?
Yeah, I'm just saying, never heard of the Cyrus prophecy. What's it? Yeah, just roughly what's it about.
Maybe I can pull it up on Google.
Google it then. Yeah, just do that. Sorry, brother. Type in Cyrus prophecy debunked.
Well,
then-
I'm just looking at the AI because it's quicker. The Cyrus prophecy found in the Hebrew Bible, specifically Isaiah 44:28 and 45:1-4, refers to a prediction about Cyrus the Great, the Persian king, allowing the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. This prophecy is considered remarkable because it names Cyrus as the agent of this return approximately 150 years before his birth. That is interesting.
Yeah, it's
That's pretty
been
specific.
disproven
Really?
by scholars, though.
Okay.
They're right in debunked.
Okay. Let me take a look.
Do the same thing. Just put in debunked after, and it will give you sources to why it's been debunked.
The prophecy in Isaiah regarding Cyrus the Great is not universally accepted as a genuine prophecy by all scholars. While some believe it was written before Cyrus's reign, others date it to the time of the Babylonian exile, making it a prediction after the fact. That tends to be the case, in my experience, with any criticism of prophecies. Like any criticism of prophecies tend to be the people are like, that actually was not said before, it was said after.
That's the normal apologetics of people trying to disprove prophecies. I know. Yeah, apologetics works both ways, mate.
I don't know if I have no problem with saying you think it's wrong, but I don't think it qualifies as apologetics because apologetics by definition is apologizing for something wrong in like religious belief, like something that people consider evil. They're like, hey, let's explain why it's not that bad.
I do assure you that my notes were far more in-depth than AI-generated Google, Rash.
Special names for special arguments that you have, and then you're going to tell me you don't have a belief system.
Well, that's a fact. Like, if you disagree with that, you're just factually incorrect.
Dude, Rash, I would have shown you the sources that back up the time period.
That I do not have a belief system that you thought was funny is not even something you can debate. It's factually true that I do not have a belief system. That atheism is not a belief system.
There's specific words that atheists use to go after religion. You've actually got specific words and specific procedures about how to debate religion. You're talking to
two of them. Why don't you ask us what they are?
I'm telling you. I'm not asking. I'm telling you.
I know you're telling us, but we're the atheists, so you'd think that we'd be the ones that would know, right?
Maybe, but it's okay. Let him make his point. What is your point?
Telling us what we think.
I know, but I do the same thing to Thea sometimes, so it's fair.
But I mean, it is the same thing. It goes both ways. But you will argue hell to high water that no, it's different.
No.
In your case.
No.
It's what happens.
It's not that it's special. And by the way, I conceded before that it's fine if you just think that they're similar. I have no problem with that. I have a problem when you say it's apologetics because it's factually not. I have a problem when you say it's a belief system because it's factually not. Like you can criticize it, and that's cool. But you can't call it things that it's not. Like, that's just factually incorrect.
I have said before, there's no concerted, not concerted, that's the wrong word. There's no belief system that you all agree on. I've already said that, a few times before. But that is not in itself doesn't mean anything. Because atheists believe a lot of
agree on any belief system because I don't really have a system.
So what?
Yes,
believe
you have but you do have a system.
No. So what that means? Let me try to explain what I mean when I say that, so we're not talking past one another. When I say that, I'm not trying to do a gotcha or anything. What I'm saying is, and this is sort of unfair, but it's actually true. So when I usually have issues with theists, especially organized religions, is I have specific things that almost always tend to be the case with theists, and it's because of the belief system that leads them to do those things. You don't have that for atheists because atheists don't have a system. All they have in common is a disbelief in a deity. They don't have traditions that they share. They don't have commandments. They don't have cultural shit. Like, there's nothing other than that disbelief. Like,
Yeah, but I'm saying that you're starting to get one because you do have these little systems that one day could build into a big system. You haven't been
Well,
around that long.
right.
So
Right. So, okay. I get
technology
what you're
that's going
saying. I think I
yeah.
get what you're saying. The problem is it still wouldn't be a system because it wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't apply to like a large enough proportion of us as atheists to be considered a system. Like, in order to be a system, it has to be something that almost all people follow. And that's not the case with atheists. We disagree on everything other than that one thing. Like we're
Okay,
always go ahead.
that one thing, but then do you all disagree? I mean, do you all disagree on whether these prophecies are real? Can we find a single atheist who likes to talk about these things? Because remember, some religious people don't even bother,
Well,
right?
you're
So I'm
well,
assuming some
you're
atheists don't even bother. But the ones
well,
who, they all say the same thing. They all say, "Oh, this
yes.
is
Relax,
So hold
relax,
on.
my friend.
You're right. You're right. But that doesn't mean anything because that's the same topic. If you don't believe in a god or a god, you lack belief, you're going to think that prophecies are false because in order to think a prophecy is true, because it's extraordinary, because it's miraculous, it's something that doesn't happen in the natural world, you think that there's a god. So like I don't understand why you think that's a
no.
a
But that's
gotcha.
not about
Special pleading.
prophecies, is it? You will deny all the time that any of these prophecies is real, even that it happened. We're not talking about whether God gave him the answer beforehand. We're talking about whether this thing actually happened. That some
Well,
guy
yes,
said happened, and then this happened.
that
That's what
is
you
Why are
true.
argue
you
about.
so heated? Rash, why are you so heated? You're
Because
So
talking to two people
I'm interested.
that are listening to you
it's
comfortably.
it's
No
okay.
one's yelling.
I'm interested in the topic. That's
Relax,
why I'm
brother.
excited.
It's
No,
okay.
I'm an
So
excited.
Don't be excited, but it sounds like
I'm allowed to
you
be.
know, fuck, man, we're both listening.
But do you
okay.
get what I'm? Go on. Sorry.
Uh, my brain just got wrapped. Can you repeat what you last said?
I was talking about how when it comes to the issue of prophecies, especially
Mm-hmm.
religious ones,
Mm-hmm.
actually just a religious ones,
Mm-hmm.
even if the prophecy is not about whether God, in the argument, it's not about whether God told the guy it was going to happen. You'll
Mm-hmm.
argue that it never even happened.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
They will,
Thank you for
you will actually go
reminding me.
that far.
So I've got
I can
two.
do
Sorry,
I've
that
and
for
got
is there a single
Christianity.
I've got 2 points to make on this real quick. So,
Okay.
Jesus Christ, I lost it again. My
I
brain
can
is
do it for the
dying.
Bible a lot. I can do it for nearly all of the messianic prophecies, but I can't do it for Islamic ones because I haven't not read the Quran critically enough. Only tidbits here and there. I have no
Well,
knowledge to
go
be able
online.
to argue that.
These
Okay.
I could go online, but I still would be doing you no justice in a good enough argument.
So
I am
so
not
I
the
I
person that
remember
can do the
one.
Quran well enough.
Right. I remember one of the points I wanted to make, not the other one, but dude, why does my brain keep dying? It's probably because there's so much heat going on. Had something to do with prophecies, had
Yeah.
something to do with Jesus Christ, why does my brain keep dying? I can't remember. I had two what I think were pretty good points, but they just keep, for some reason, like, it's not your fault, but you guys are having a conversation, and then I'm like holding, because I have to hold it in my head, and then like I lose it so easily.
Gucci this week tried to argue with me that Isaiah 53 was about Jesus. And if you read Isaiah 40 to about 55, I think it is, this is considered second Isaiah, and it's considered by scholars to be about Jerusalem or Israel, right type thing. And there's 8 times through those chapters where it says that it's the people and all this kind of stuff, which signifies more than one person, etc., and that it's a population, and there's mention that it is the nation of Israel. Yeah. There's one point where it says he, and it's a Hebrew hermeneutic or whatever. There's some reasoning behind why it's a solo pronunciation, but that's why all the Christians now cling to make it sound like it's a Jesus prediction. I fucking forget what the prophecy is, but the issue with the prophecy is it's that Isaiah 53 is actually about Israel. It's not about Jesus. Yet the Christians think it's about Jesus. And through those chapters, there's 8 times that it says that it's about Israel. And yeah, I have to now do a video on that just to laugh at Gucci. Can't, though, because it's a half-hour video, man. It's fucking a lot of chapters to read.
Right.
There's another one about Abraham said that he said that God is going to send you a prophet who will be a man like me, right? So the Christians think that that prophet that comes is Jesus. Muslims will argue that it's actually Prophet Muhammad, because Abraham was a man. He wasn't God. He was God's son. He was a man. And on top of that, a man like me, like Abraham, would be a man who went to war for a start, a man who had a family, a man who had many wives. There's actually so many more correlations between Muhammad than there are with Jesus. And I've seen one of the arguments was 100 reasons why, what was it called? 100 reasons why Jesus is like Abraham. And one of the reasons was, this is the only reason I remember, he once stood next to a well. That was literally one of the reasons. Who the hell in those areas didn't once stand next to a well?
Exactly.
It's some of the stupid stuff.
There's another prophecy in the Bible about Jesus being fucking Messiah or whatever because he rode into town on 2 donkeys. Now, I admit that's pretty fucking impressive. But, and how did he do it? Straddling 2 at a time, or was one in front? I don't know. Like, if one's in front of the other, he's not really riding on 2. So he'd have to have big fucking hips, man.
He's standing on them, One foot on each.
Yeah, like a chariot of donkeys. Like, this is one impressive fucking Messiah, man.
Well, you have to be if you're going to be the Messiah.
All right. I actually wrote it down so I wouldn't lose it again. Jesus Christ, my brain's dying. Okay. One thing that you said, Rash, that I wanted to address is that it seemed like you assumed that when atheists have these, like, for one, that they're going against any sort of prophecies, that they even happened in the first place, right? So one thing that I think you're assuming is that every atheist on their own is going through, like, logical shit involving the history and everything of these prophecies, and they're not. So, at least speaking for myself. So when I have a problem with prophecies, yes, I'll admit that I tend to be skeptical because, honestly, that's a pretty extreme claim. Like, a prophecy on its own is a pretty extraordinary claim because it doesn't happen, right? So I'll defend that I'm skeptical, but I don't just go, hey, that's factually not true because blah, 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 and it's coming out of my head. I'm not an expert. I'm not a historian. In fact, I admit that I don't know shit about history. When I say this, it's because experts say that these are not true prophecies. So that's not the same thing as, like, me, like, coming up and, like, you say that we all use the same thing. It's because that's what experts say. That's what we do with everything.
But here's the thing: when we had the argument about that's exactly what you did. You pulled up all the arguments by people who were not Muslim, who didn't want this to be true, and you pulled up all the arguments.
No. That's an assumption. That it's an assumption that they did not want this to be true. That's not a fact.
As an atheist, do you want this to be true?
No. This is what I mean when I said before that you can't lump atheists into a group like you can theists. You can't say, as an atheist, you don't want God to exist, because that's simply not true. For myself, that's definitely not true. I only care about what is true. I don't like feel that God is evil and therefore I don't want to believe in him.
Like, I don't believe in him because I'm not convinced based on any sort of evidence that he exists. And it's the same way with like the prophecy things. I don't think prophecies are true because in my experience, anytime I've heard of a prophecy, experts have disagreed with it. Now you say that the experts, say that, like, I disagree with experts because they're Muslim. And I've explained this before. You cannot consider that a legitimate claim because they are biased by being Muslim. You can't say that they are the experts because when it comes to historicity, no one takes it seriously if the only thing that, like, I'm not saying that Muslims can't say something and it can be considered. It can. But if that's the only thing that you have of people who happen to believe it, then it's obvious you can't use it. Like, you need something outside of it. You know what I mean? And that applies to everything. It's not just religion. It's not special rules.
Can you find me a single expert, fine, who's an atheist, who found a prophecy that actually did happen? Nothing to do with God.
Well, hold on. Well, one, you're assuming that prophecies exist, which is a massive, massive assumption. Like, that's kind of
explain supernatural.
Don't call it a prophecy then. Don't call it a prophecy then. Somebody
all right, hold
from
on. A scientific prediction happens all the time. It's why we have GPS. It's why we have science. It's why you have technology.
You have science because of Muslims.
You've got to understand that. Quite possibly. It definitely came from the Middle East. No one's doubting you there. And you're an engineer, so you've got to understand what I'm saying. I'm not here fucking fighting any religious argument.
Well, what I'm trying to find out, because like somebody somewhere must have made, just because there's so many prophecies, right? Just logically, there has to be one that's correct.
Okay, so what I think is happening here is you're kind of using like an ambiguity fallacy. You're taking the word.
Let's say another one.
What's the word? Hold on, I just lost what you said. What's the word? Prophecy. So you're taking prophecy, and it seems like you're trying to say, okay, don't use that. Let's say that someone predicted something. That's not a prophecy. You can't use them in the same way.
Don't call it a prophecy. Don't call it a prophecy, but call it a prediction.
Okay, then. Okay. So if you want me to find an atheist that confirmed a prediction, I can give you thousands. It happens all the time.
A religious prediction.
A religious prediction?
Yeah.
So how would you define a normal prediction from a religious prediction? What would make a religious prediction a religious prediction?
It comes from the Bible, or it comes
that on.
It comes from the Bible, or it comes from a religious book.
Well, we have that. Like, we have, for example, we didn't really know a whole lot about Jesus until it was mentioned in the Bible, and then atheist historians confirmed that there was more than likely, not for a fact, but more than likely, a Jesus existed. Like that. That's an example.
Okay, that's not really what I'm talking about. I mean,
you're looking for a prediction, I guess, but like that's not a prediction. But still, it goes against what you're talking about. You're trying to say that because people are atheists, they want to automatically be biased toward countering anything religion says, and that's not true. Like, in general, atheists aren't atheists because they hate God or they hate religion. They're atheists because they haven't been provided with evidence that makes them think it's true. They're not anti-religion, not in general.
No, I agree. You not hey, Rash, is it right that the Quran has passages about black holes in it?
I would say if it does, it's vague enough that it could not really say it is or it isn't. That's what I would say.
Assume you knew that would be my response, obviously. But
if you ask Muslims, they'll say, "Oh yeah, definitely," and some of them might even point you to a passage. But as
I was hoping that you might know your vague one offhand, but yeah, all good. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, man. Yeah, no. I was hoping that you'd have one offhand, but I know that's expecting a lot from anybody to fucking have specific verses of their book in their memory. Like, fucking, man, isn't it? Back to a different point very quickly. It spins me out how many Christians have not read their fucking book that they preach.
That's what gets me, and that's what bothers me so much about it. And it makes me feel that, like, at least Christians, I won't lump it all into all religion, but with Christians, they're fake. So it makes me wonder, why did they claim to believe it? Is it just tribalism? Because 90% of all Christians that I meet on a day-to-day basis, some random atheist dude that don't really, like, I tend to focus on psychology and other stuff. I know way more about the Bible than they do. Why? Why is that the case? It makes no sense.
It spins me out. I don't do this freaking religious thing for anything apart from entertainment and fun. I have no reason. I don't care about it. There's not many religious people about me. It affects my life so little, but it seems to annoy my partner, which so I should stop, but it's hard.
I would argue that you do.
So we're if what you say is true, we're similar in some ways, but I'm different in that it does affect me and I do care about it. I think that religion as a whole is a net negative for mankind.
For sure.
Not saying that all religion, I won't say every single thing about religion is wrong. There's some positive, but I think as a overall, it's a net negative in my opinion.
Some people are not able to think for themselves, and they do need religion.
So that I've conceded something close to that there are some people that I don't touch. And that is people that I believe are, how to word it? They mentally need religion because they're kind of like psychologically dependent on it. And I don't just mean like a defense mechanism. I mean like they will break down without the concept of a God. My uncle's one of them. These people, I go, yeah, you're probably right. And I feel I feel bad doing it because I'm lying, but literally this might be the only fucking thing keeping them alive. And I don't touch religion when it comes to that because I don't care about it to an extent I want people to fucking die over it.
No. If that's what a family member believes, man, you don't have the right to change that, really, do you?
Well, I won't say I have the right. I will exactly. I will debate people if I think they don't need it, and that's most people. I would say like 90% of all religious people, or maybe more, just simply believe that they think it's true. And
you're the first robotics.
What?
Missed that, buddy.
The first law of robotics is don't harm a human, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
So you feel you will give him harm by, tearing his religion apart, so you don't do it because you don't want to harm him. I told you you're a robot.
So hold on, I'll disagree with that first rule anyway, because I don't think anything's as simple as does it harm or does it not. Everything is like combinations. So some things help and harm at the same time. So the question is, does it do more good than harm? And I believe for your average person, not the people I was talking about that need it to survive, like it's the only thing keeping them alive, but your average person, I think, can handle to be critiqued, can handle to, like you do it all the time. Like you're not going to have a breakdown because I tell you that I don't think your God's real.
You see, as a robot, no, it doesn't harm me.
Right.
You do get a little defensive though to us atheists, man. Like we don't really attack you much at all. I don't think I've ever attacked you or your religion either. And
you get defensive too. You will go out of your way. I think you're wrong. I do the same thing.
Not really. I just don't. I reject your claim, and you don't like it.
Yeah,
and you take it personally.
You are the one who came out of nowhere to ask me a question about a accurate prophecy. I gave you one, you didn't like it, and then instead of answering,
you haven't given me an accurate prophecy.
Oh, damn it!
And you still don't understand that a prophecy requires some form of a fucking location and some form of a fucking time period Otherwise, it's so
I gave
blasé a
that-
prophecy that you can
I
wait
gave
for
one
eternity until something similar happens anywhere
Hold,
in the universe
I'll actually,
throughout any time or space.
I disagree with part of that. So you say that if it doesn't have some sort of like a time frame, then it's a crappy prophecy. I would maintain it's not a prophet. It cannot be a prophecy without a time frame, because by definition, in my opinion, a prophecy
Thank you.
requires something special. It can't just be a prediction.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be a prophecy. So if you don't have a time frame, I don't think that you could accurately even call it a prophecy in the first place.
Yes, you can.
I don't think
Think
you
about
can.
Somebody makes a prophecy. He doesn't give a time frame,
Time and
it has,
space, hence
and it has
location as
next
well.
month. The thing
But
he
the-
prophesied happens next month.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is like, is where is the line between a prediction and a prophecy? To me, a prophecy is not just a random little thing. It's a big deal.
Divine.
It's like
It's a
a
supernatural, freaking advanced bit of knowledge given to you by a divine.
yes. And in
That's what a
order
prophecy
in
is.
order to show that it's divine or special or not just an average thing, you need more than just you know what? I have a belief that in the next 7 days there's going to be a thunderstorm.
700 years.
Like
Fucking
even that
something.
wouldn't be good, because even though I provided a time frame, I said 7 days. That's still not a prophecy, because what the hell? What are the chances?
But nobody is saying that the prophecy. I mean, it's still a prophecy, but it's so mundane it doesn't count, right?
So we disagree on that, and that so actually Odd said that in the first place, and maybe he didn't mean it, but he said that it's a blasé or something prophecy if it doesn't contain a time frame. So this is my opinion, but I think if you're going to use the word prophecy, it has no meaning unless it's specific. And if it doesn't have a time frame, it's not specific. So why would you call it a prophecy in the first place? Like
It's
why?
happening.
You've made a prediction of the future, right?
A prophecy is not just a prediction for the future. It has to be more than that. Otherwise, you just call it a prediction.
But this is exactly why Odd had to put in there he wanted an accurate prophecy, and on by what he wanted
I've
in,
not said
and
that
now
bit.
he wants the location.
We've got time and space. Hence, it's time and location. That's all. Now,
Okay, but you added that on. You wanted time. At first, you wanted only time. Now you ask.
The other component was
And the
accuracy.
prophecy I gave
Now
you had,
accurate at all. It's
and
just
it was
freaking happening.
and
So
it was accurate.
I need some level of accuracy. Some level of accuracy. There definitely has to be some level of
Yes,
time. I
there
don't
was.
care if
I mean,
it's
it has to
relax,
have-
man. Just
it
let
has.
me finish
I'm saying
talking. Relax.
It has.
I don't even
Why are
care
you
about a
using-
7-day
why are you
period
using
if it's in the
me right
Bible,
now?
because 7 days is still pretty
Oh.
Bible of places I've never even fucking heard of in the real world. So they're semi
Fine.
unrealistic to me
I'm
anyway, but they
agreeing
are
to your
all
position.
verifiable.
I'm agreeing because that's exactly
good.
what I gave.
To make an AI generated video about why prophecies require.
You keep doing this, pretending that I haven't given you one with time and space.
I don't know of
You
one
keep
that
saying
you've given me.
I never gave you one that had that.
I have no idea of one you gave me.
You got no idea. The Romans prophecy that I gave you.
I have no idea of this prophecy
So
that you gave me.
You didn't even read what I wrote to you. You didn't even check the sources I gave you in Discord, in chat. And then
I
you
did.
want me to complain that I didn't watch one of your AI generated videos.
Yeah,
Come
sorry,
on,
Rush. Were you blocked?
Come on.
I didn't know what you were talking about at first, but I did give it its due diligence. And I disagreed with you, but I'm not going to go into it because I really don't. It's just going to open up another can of worms, and I really need to go.
Yeah.
We can talk about this next week if you want, but this was a really interesting one. And I think that we delved into some things that kind of made things a little bit more clear for me, especially when it comes to like
the prophecy on my channel for me or something.
Can I what?
I don't whack up the prophecy that he just mentioned on my channel, or
whack up.
Yeah, give me a copy.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
I don't know what the argument was. Or whatever.
Yeah,
I can't see him.
What I can do is find it on Discord and find the place where it started, at least my conversation with him, and then I'll give you a link to the very beginning spot.
Yeah, cool.
The very good spot was with Odyssey.
Oh, so you want me to give you the very, very beginning, like before me?
You can give him the whole thing. I don't mind.
I haven't been connected. Rash, I haven't been connected to it for about 3 months, man, or 4 months. So I'm a bit behind.
You didn't even read it, dude. We were having an argument about it, and you didn't even read it. And you're mad that I didn't watch one of your AI-generated videos. Come on.
Mate, you need to give me a chance to get up to date with the rest of the context of that argument, Rash. I don't just be nasty to you. I do just ignore some of your shit, though. You do a lot of news articles, and they're long. They're like 20, 30-minute videos and shit. It's like, oh, I don't have time for this.
Odyssey, I was talking directly to you. You were talking directly to me. And you didn't even look at the prophecy? Is that what you're trying to say?
Apparently so. I'm saying it's not that hard to fucking put it up again, Rash. You didn't watch 2 of my videos for fucking ages, Rash. So piss off with your fucking like this pretentious bullshit. This is funny.
If I understand him, and I may not, I don't think he's really complaining so much that you made a mistake. I think he's complaining that you were going on about something that you knew nothing about, that you were like debating about something that you didn't even give the time to have evidence for to debate against.
I don't think I gave an argument for this prophecy.
I don't know.
At all.
I wasn't.
I never responded to the prophecy. I knew that he tried to give me a prophecy, and I knew that I'd never bothered to look at something, but I never actually looked at it, so I didn't know what it was, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What a hypocrite.
No, it's when you're getting to that point where you're just being an argumentative little... Can't say because I breached channel guidelines.
So you agree we were arguing about the prophecy. Now you're saying you didn't see the prophecy. Well, come on. Are you Donald Trump?
No. Rash, relax. Give me a freaking copy of the bloody prophecy. You said that it was it's Quran prophecy or Bible prophecy.
It's a Quran prophecy.
Oh, well, that makes it harder. It's not my specialty, but I'll give it a shot. Fucking give me a copy of the bloody thing and I'll try and debunk it. No, hold on. It's got to be a messianic prophecy. So how does that work for a Quran prophecy? One that's an Allah-based prophecy. I can't hear you, Rush. You cracked one.
I'm telling Trobs to give you the AI-generated answer that Trobs gave me. Because to you guys...
That's funny.
Well, what I'll do
than that, I promise.
It already does it anyway because I'm sending him the beginning of the conversation, so everything I replied will be in it.
Yeah, there you go.
So it'll do it all for it, and that's good because I don't want to spend a ton of time.
It doesn't actually have to do anything.
Exactly, and
yeah.
But yeah, guys, I'm running over 3 hours now.
Okay.
Not a problem. Have fun.
I've got to roll, and it was fun though. And I will be back next week as long as nothing else comes up. Take it easy, guys.
Yep. Bye.